Battlefield 5's reveal was not fantastic. Trevor Noah was distractingly poor as a presenter. The presentation itself had no energy and was staged more like an after-match talk show for college football. The reveal trailer was disorganized, poorly directed, and confusing more so than exciting. It wasn't until big Battlefield YouTubers such as Jack Frags, Levelcap, and Westy started actually explaining what the hell the game was about when it finally clicked with me and made me go, "Oh! This game actually sounds amazing!" With Battlefield 4's rocky launch and Battlefield Hardline's underwhelming reception, Battlefield 1, in my opinion, was the first victory the series had seen against Call of Duty in quite some time. It was exciting. It was a return to the early 1900s that a lot of series fans for Call of Duty were wishing their series would go back to. Eventually it did with World War II, but it didn't stop the fact that Battlefield had the first victory by delivering an early 1900s war game while Call of Duty was fighting on the rings of Saturn. Unfortunately, Battlefield 1 did not have the staying power, so eventually Call of Duty won in the end. But Battlefield 5 could have been the actual first real knockout punch to Call of Duty due to Black Ops 4's very embarrassing reveal.
Hardpoint identified.
Ruin neutralized.
Hardpoint locked down.
But sadly, little did we know, Battlefield 5 was going to one-up Black Ops 4 in the embarrassing reveal department. What exactly went wrong with the Battlefield 5 reveal? Let's talk about it. Trevor Noah was a very puzzling choice for this game's reveal. He seems like a nice guy disconnected from this reveal, but during the presentation he was quite annoying and distracting. He clearly doesn't play the Battlefield series, and when he brought up talking points and specifics, it felt more like he either A, played a few matches an hour before filming so he could be vaguely familiar with the series, or the more likely option, B, he just doesn't play and was trained to ask these questions by EA PR, even if he doesn't understand the questions he's actually asking. Constantly, throughout the presentation, he would make jokes that drew attention to himself instead of the game, which is probably a side effect of him being a TV show host. His constant need to make up personal stories or tell jokes felt like just a habit he picked up from trying to get his TV show audience to laugh during his shows. But that isn't what this reveal was for. This wasn't supposed to be the Trevor Noah show, yet he presented it that way. Due to his lack of knowledge with the game series, he would frequently make up fake stories or say things that any Battlefield player would be confused by.
I remember once I was playing with a friend who served in Special Forces, and we were talking about our favorite guns, and I was talking about the recoil and what I liked about the sights versus other guns, and he turned to me at one point and he said, "Oh, where did you serve?" And I felt embarrassed because I was like, "Oh, Battlefield 3, that's where I was." And instead of him being angry, he was like, "I didn't know that there was a game that was that immersive, something that really was as true to real."
No, Trevor, that never happened. Nobody believes that that actually happened to you. This snippet here is a really good summary of why Trevor Noah's presentation was so bad. Instead of letting the developers explain why their games are considered authentic, he felt the need to draw attention to himself and make up fake stories that everyone knows didn't actually happen. It made the game feel phony, and it made this whole presentation feel phony. You can frequently see the DICE developers shifting uncomfortably when he begins babbling and drawing attention to himself because they just want to talk about their game, and Trevor Noah's bad jokes and fake stories, they're making their game seem phony. This part was really funny when Trevor Noah didn't know what he was talking about and said that Battlefield 1 had co-op?
I heard you guys say that co-op is back, and that's one of my favorite aspects of Battlefield 1. Lars, can you tell me more about that mode?
I definitely can. I mean, I'm happy to say that for the first.
I'm not sure if this is an EA thing or a DICE thing, but Battlefield 5's art and presentation seemed very poor. I'm not talking about the in-game stuff, I'm talking about the marketing stuff. Now, the cover art for Battlefield 5 I think looks very cool. Blue and orange is a very strong combination of colors, which is probably why the series uses those two colors so much on their box arts, and why you see most movie posters and game art using it. But the minimalist approach that this reveal specifically used didn't do the reveal any favors. Why does everything look so clean and bland? This is a World War II game. Nothing pops, it's just blue and polished. Why not have Trevor Noah in World War II gear set up a fake set that they're sitting in that looks like a base of operations with old radios and lanterns? Maybe have a smoke machine creating a very thin layer of mist around their feet. Anything to hype this game up a bit. For as bland and uninteresting as Black Ops 4's reveal was, the audience was cheering, the presenters were screaming and getting excited about their game.
This is doing Battle Royale the Black Ops way. This is Blackout!
Now to cover what you'll take to the battlefield with you.
The Battlefield 5 reveal just looks like a fucking funeral. After the long, tedious, confusing talk show style presentation for the game, Trevor Noah finally shuts up and goes to the reveal trailer, and boy did it feel like pouring salt into the wound that Trevor Noah gave us. The trailer starts on a very puzzling shot. I'm still not entirely sure what this is. Before I even had a chance to process what appears to be a horse's nostril, suddenly... So much begins happening at once. Yelling, screaming, motion blur, shaky cam, close-ups, dark shadows. In less than 1 minute, this girl with a hook for a hand gets killed. Guy is dying, asks for help, only to be ignored by his buddy doing something up there in the corner of the screen. I'm not sure if it's due to the motion blur or the speed of which is happening, but I had no clue what this guy was doing. Whoa, what? Tanks? Where are they? Did he die in that building? Why is she back? Didn't she die? Whoa, what? Slow down. There's a Jeep behind them? Did the Jeep crash through the house? It looked like it. Why the hell is he being bad touched by a Mad Max villain? What the hell? That guy was just crushed in a slapstick moment. Was that supposed to be funny? Should I be laughing or horrified? That person in diesel punk attire just saved him with a spiked cricket bat. Why is Mad Max over here being so cheerful and witty? These visuals are gritty and horrifying. The humor doesn't feel right. Is this a post-apocalyptic game? What the f*** is happening? I asked my friend at work his opinions on the Battlefield 5 trailer, and he said something that made me laugh very hard because it felt incredibly accurate. We are gonna throw so much action at you that we hope you f***ing choke. The choice to make the trailer one long, unbroken shot was a very, very bad one. Modern cinema has taught our brains to receive information in very specific ways. Establishing shots give our brains a mental map of the location. Cutting cameras allows our brain to multitask and keep track of dozens of things happening at once without being overloaded, etc., etc., etc. Overloaded, though, being the key word. One long, unbroken shot is a very cool way to construct a scene in movies. It's very obvious to see why not many movies do this style of shooting. It's very hard to execute without looking comical, floaty, and most importantly, overwhelming. I don't think Battlefield 1's trailer is just good when compared to Infinite Warfare. I think it is a genuinely well-made video game trailer. Very rhythmic music helped set a pace for the cutting of sequences and scenes, and due to that pace being set, we as viewers were able to keep up because we were following the rhythm of the song. The trailer made sure to give each thing it showed off enough room to breathe by using slowdown when a lot of things were happening at once, and not using too many close-ups unless they wanted a reaction of a soldier or a gun firing for dramatic effect. Best part was the ending of it. having a shadow looming over one terrified soldier as the music gets distant and bassy to imply that something big was coming. We see the massive silhouette of a war blimp as the music begins to ramp up and up and up, and then bam, cut to the title of the game as the music goes full blast. Exciting, fast, well-directed, and most importantly, not overwhelming. Battlefield 5's trailer was a mess. It was unfocused, disorganized, poorly paced, and due to how scripted everything was, I'm not entirely sure that this is gameplay, despite the fake HUD put on the screen to imply gameplay. Gameplay animations and player movement don't act like that during gameplay. The camera movements are way too fluid, and the gun isn't even shooting at the center of the screen. I'm still trying to process what happened 30 seconds ago before being given a whole new confusing mess to process. This was a trailer I had to rewatch multiple times because I was constantly lagging behind the trailer because my brain was overloaded with information. I wasn't able to process everything correctly, so after a while my brain just checked out, and I just waited for the trailer to end before I slowed it down and followed it beat by beat, and even then it was still way too confusing. This year's Call of Duty doesn't look like a good game in my opinion, don't get me wrong. Its trailer is bland, safe, uninspired, but out of all the years to get artistic and experimental, this was not that year. EA is carrying around the weight of the loot box controversy, which will have players very skeptical of their games for the next few years, and they needed to play it safe and maintain course after Battlefield 1. EA needed to play this one safe again and deliver an easily digestible World War II themed trailer with MP40s, M1 Garands, STGs, the usual stuff that you see in a World War II game in response to Black Ops 4's futuristic trailer. Sadly, DICE and EA didn't deliver, and now they have potentially pushed people away by having a reveal trailer that revealed a tonal mess. First impressions are everything. If you show up at a party screaming and taking your shirt off, people will always remember you as the weird guy who likes to scream while shirtless. EA and DICE have a lot of marketing to do in the next few months to course correct the notion that their game is a weird diesel punk post-apocalyptic mess. It probably also didn't help that they didn't specify this was supposed to be a summary of the multiplayer experience. There are a lot of people that genuinely think this is what the campaign will be like. No, this is multiplayer. The reason everyone looks like Mad Max diesel punk characters is because that's supposed to represent that you can customize your character in a variety of different ways. But no, people actually think that's campaign footage and that the campaign will be that silly looking. What is also appreciated is that DICE said that customization options will be restricted for certain game modes to give it a little bit more authenticity, and also you'll be able to distinctly customize the different factions, so you won't see Germans running around with military gear from the United States or British. And on the subject of authenticity, I want to talk about women for a second. There are a lot of people who are very upset that this World War II game has playable female characters, and I want to explain my side of the topic here. I have no problems with women in shooter games. In my opinion, the more options you have to personalize your avatar and recreate yourself in this war setting to give you a more immersive power fantasy, the better. Having a few women running around World War II does not break the silhouette of the war. It does not completely ruin it. In the heat of the moment, as I'm being pinned down by artillery fire and light machine guns firing from on top of a hill, I'm not going to be frantically looking around to see the gender of the different soldiers. No, I'm just going to see fellow teammates because I'm going to be panicking because I'm going to die. So I'm not concerned about women in this video game. The more the merrier. If this is what's going to get even more gamers to buy the game so that the servers can be even more populated, then let's do it. Let's do it. More players, the better. I hear the complaints and the criticisms. Some of them are genuinely pretty disgusting and sexist, but some of them are a little bit more well-founded. Some players just want a more authentic experience, but Battlefield traditionally has always tiptoed around realism. It has had one foot in the realism door, so to speak. And for this, for women in a World War II game, it's honestly not that out of the question. Women did fight in World War II, and a little bit more so than media and pop culture leads people to believe. It really is not that hard to suspend what we know about World War II and just accept, yeah, a couple of my girl friends will be playing this game and they'll be running around as women soldiers. It's fine. It's a non-issue, in my opinion. And constantly making it an issue, I think, is going to distract from some of the more realistic concerns like, okay, this game will not have loot boxes or a season pass. How is EA going to screw this up? If you guys remember the backlash to the Ghostbusters reboot from Sony, part of how Sony was able to market that movie was deleting certain comments in the comment section of the trailer to give the illusion that the only criticism their movie was receiving was sexist men whining about women. When that wasn't the case, a lot of people genuinely thought it looked like a stupid, bad remake. Women in that movie was probably the best creative decision because at least they weren't trying to recreate the chemistry of the original cast. They were trying something completely different. Don't give EA the ammunition to do the same thing here, that the only criticism their reveal got was women. There were legitimate issues with the way that they revealed the game. And honestly, women were not one of those issues, in my opinion. Battlefield 5, I think, will be a good game. On paper, its gameplay changes sound incredible. Its innovations and differences from previous Battlefield games actually sound like it's going to strengthen the combat flow and make the game a lot more fun to play. I'm really looking forward to Battlefield 5. This reveal I can put behind me because marketing departments can screw up while the gameplay designers are actually crafting a really enjoyable game. The two are not connected. I'm making this video not because I'm laughing and enjoying the fact that Battlefield screwed up. I'm doing it as a breakdown of why this reveal was so bad and why I'm worried that it's going to turn gamers off from what will be a very enjoyable game. If there's anything you want to add, any constructive criticism that you want to give, leave it in the comments section below. Remember, share the video around if you enjoyed it. The likes are really appreciated. YouTube has been really screwing with us lately, but I really appreciate the participation. Guys, I will see you on the next video, and tell me what you think in the comments section below.